Hello and welcome to the final in our little series of MGP specials, the MGP Game of the Generation. I'm Kev, and with me, this generation, the Sheepdog, Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
It's been so convenient this year that we've had so many of these specials to do at this time when there's not much other gaming stuff going on. We're geniuses. Absolute geniuses. We're going to have to come up with 3 or 4 specials every Christmas. I feel like we kind of do.
Yeah, we do. It's been nice not having to panic at the last minute and play a load of games.
Not having to pretend that you've been playing games. The problem is you've had to panic this afternoon and pretend you've played 5 games in the last 8 years.
Well, no. I have been known to accidentally stumble across a game in the past decade. There's this list that I've got for the later in the shows.
Excellent. Did we miss last week? I feel like we missed last week's show.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
With no apology either, because Sheepdog forgot to put out pad pictures, and then had the cheek to put out a picture I'd already seen before when he did put the apology out.
To be honest, I mean, I know it's, old hat now, but I'm going to blame COVID for that. I haven't had pictures of Pab for ages. Normally, by this point, I'd have taken so many pictures of him sleeping. My phone would be dangerously full. I've not seen that man sleep in over a year.
For all we know, he could have shoulder-length hair by now. It's been so long since we've seen him.
Yeah,
it's not a million miles away, but it's not shoulder length.
I might have to start sneaking into your streams under a pseudonym and just taking pictures.
You don't have to like sign into my stream, Sheepdog. I'm not going to know you're there if you just.
Sometimes I send people into his stream on my account pretending to be me, so he thinks I'm showing him support, but I'm not really there. It's brilliant. So I've not seen him for a year.
I have turned up a couple of times without announcing myself, Pab. But I like it. I like announcing myself when you two are streaming, because you both go, "It's Sheepdog!" And then I feel really good.
Everyone rallies around.
I don't even notice you half the time.
You do the same as Pab. You announce I'm there, and it's great. Everyone should announce I'm there when I walk into places. You tell the room, "Sheepdog's here, everyone. Say hello to Sheepdog." It's great. That should happen everywhere I go. If I go into the shopping centre, I want someone to just announce that Sheepdog's here.
You should hang out with some more super cool streamer internet types like me and Pab.
I need to spend more time with Pab streams. It's fun.
You should do your own streams, Sheepdog. Have you ever thought of that?
I tried to. My laptop's so old. I was chatting to someone about this the other day. My laptop, I set it all up. I got Twitch on there, and just running the Twitch app on its own killed it.
Should have got a PC all those years ago when I told you to get a PC.
No, you shouldn't listen to Kev.
Some genius told me to get this Mac.
I've got a Mac. My Mac's great.
Yeah, my Mac is great.
You haven't had it out since we moved here.
Yeah, it's not actually been out of my backpack since we moved in, but it's great.
My Mac does everything
when we're travelling
exactly the way it did it 10 years ago, or 5 years ago when I bought it. I dropped my pen. I can't keep notes now in the podcast. How am I going to do callbacks?
You have to use your sharp mind and your quick wits.
I found the pen. It's all good.
Excellent. I'm just sipping on my beverage, which is why everything's so disjointed and
so
incoherent.
Fluid.
Yeah, exactly.
I shot myself in the foot earlier. Mrs. Sheepdog said I could get a PC if I wanted, and I talked her out of it, and I didn't mean to.
What were you doing? How did you manage that?
Well, I sort of said, I already planned to get one in like 6 months, so I'll just play it by ear. And then I thought, why did I say that? Why didn't I just go, I've already bought one, it arrives yesterday. Wow. I should have just unveiled the one that's been, hidden.
You really aren't very good at all this stuff, are you?
I'm too honest. That is my problem.
Which is odd, because in all other aspects of your life, you're a filthy liar. But like in the podcast when you pretend you've played video games. But
yeah. I've kept that going for a decade.
Yeah, you've got the opportunity here to stop lying about that. Stop lying every week by just doing one. It isn't even one lie now. The way you've told the story, she said, "Here, Sheepdog, would you like a computer?" "No, thank you, Mrs. Sheepdog. I don't really want one, thank you."
I didn't say I didn't want one. I'd already said I was going to get one at some point in the next few months, and I put it off. I'll get it sorted. A part of me just doesn't want to have to sit in this stupid chair that I record the podcast in, because it's the only place I could put a PC in this house.
Yeah,
it just seems like a terrible place.
You never should have got rid of your mega desk that took over half of your living room that you made me carry.
Exactly. And until I have a room that can fit a mega desk in it, I just want to be able to sit in a chair and hook myself up to it and then not leave it and just be rotated around it.
That's how you spent your 20s.
Exactly, and that's how I want to spend my late 30s. But at the moment, I'm just perched.
You've not got a time machine, Sheepdog. Goodness me.
Just perched at the end of a desk next to my bed, and there's just no room. And I thought, I can't put a PC here. I can't live here. It'll be ridiculous. So, yeah, that's part of the reason as well.
Talking of ridiculous things and time machines, me and Anna are in a bit of a predicament at the moment where when we check our security cameras, they show that it's snowing outside. Yet when we look out of the window, it's not snowing outside. So we're now speculating that our security cameras are showing us the future. It's the only possible explanation for this phenomenon that we're witnessing.
Are you sure it's not a Snapchat filter or something that's just putting...
See
what the world looks like with
security.
snow on it?
I spent $1,000 on this security system. If it's got Snapchat filters that make it look like it's snowing when I check if my car's been stolen, then I'm not very pleased.
Well, head out front, and if you get one of those little pointy dog noses and some ears and some glasses, then you know that you're on the
Hang
filter.
on. Santa's just gone by on a sleigh in the sky. Perhaps it is the Christmas filter. It is definitely showing snow on this camera still. Yet, even after half an hour, there's no snow on the ground. So I am starting to suspect there's not actually any snow.
The alternative is
a
you
little
switch the feed to Antarctica.
Why is my car in Antarctica?
Maybe you've just gone on. Is it a Kia you've got? Maybe you're on Kia Cam, and it's just showing you Kias from around the world. And tomorrow's Kia will be in a desert. Exactly.
I'd like Kia Cam.
Tomorrow you'll be like, "Why is it Afghanistan outside my window?" And it will just because they're showing you a Kia in Afghanistan.
What I'd really like is for my car to work out what day and time it is. My car's now too intelligent for me. I don't understand modern cars. And I like to be able to have a dial on the dashboard that I could just use to change the clock. But now, I don't set the clock myself. It sets itself by the internet. But it's doing it wrong. It's out by a day. All the time, it's out by a day. And I don't know how to change it. So,
are you sure you're not a day behind or ahead or whatever you just said?
I don't know. I could be. I was supposed to pick Hannah up from work one day last week, and I just forgot because I didn't know what day it was. I'm completely lost when it comes to days at the moment. It could be that I'm actually a day further ahead than everybody else, and that's why I'm so confused.
My car keeps offering me Wi-Fi, and I keep thinking, you haven't got a SIM card in you, so how are you offering me Wi-Fi?
Well, mine's not got a SIM card in it, but it always tells me all the information and stuff. It's getting the internet from somewhere.
I get in, and it's just like, you could have a free trial of Wi-Fi if you wanted it. Just click here, and I'm like, well, I don't understand where it's coming from.
I think cars are just magic, aren't they?
Yeah, so I'm not clicking it because I don't want it to suddenly start printing out bills that I've got to pay it. But I don't know. Is it just being like, I'm actually rinsing your phone gutted, or is it stealing it from somebody else, or I don't know. Is there like a Ford SIM card in there that I just don't know about? I should have read the manual, but I'll ask my dad. Dads know everything about cars, don't they?
I feel like when cars are at the point where I can set my seat heater from my house before I get in the car in the morning, I shouldn't have to read the manual.
It should just tell you, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
For days it's been saying to me, come on, have some Wi-Fi. And I'm like, I don't trust you because you weren't saying this a week ago, last time I got in here. I don't get in it that often, but now it's suddenly just peddling Wi-Fi. And I'm thinking, whose is it? Who's it nicked Wi-Fi off? Maybe your car's on the prowl stealing stuff, and that's why it's put an old.
Well, my
clip.
car's in the future, so I wouldn't even know.
You've been hacked. Somebody's just. That's probably what's happened. Somebody's put a clip of it snowing on your camera, and they've just gone for a joyride in your car, and you're too lazy to look out the window.
Yeah, they know
see
full well I'm not opening these blinds to have a look at the exact same angle. If I want to see outside, I'm looking on that camera. I am not getting up and moving 3 feet to my left to look out of a window. That's not what I bought that camera for.
Every 10 minutes, it's just a man walking by, and you're like, that man has been doing circles on that street for a week.
And he's not
going to slip in the
He
snow.
doesn't seem to be losing any weight. I don't understand. He's wearing Bermuda shorts. What's going on? Right. Shall we do Game of the Generation? I imagine Pab's already decided what the winner is. Pab, what's the winner?
Oh, you're not going to be happy.
He doesn't know.
You're going to vote Cyberpunk, aren't you, Pab? I can see it coming a mile away.
No.
I wouldn't even allow it because that came out on this generation.
But it didn't though. It's out
It's
on the last
PS4.
generation.
I'm still not allowing it. Anything that came out cross-generation, I'm not allowing.
It's not
It hasn't come out on the next gen.
No, it's only on 4.
This is the ludicrous thing about this generation that I had to ask. I had to say to Kev, "What's the limits on this?" Because part of me thought I don't want to be coming out with a game that I really enjoyed 5 years ago, and then Kev telling me it was the wrong gen. And
you did that with your two examples. You
I
put
did,
two
didn't I? To be
examples in our
fair,
Twitter chat.
Well, no, they were. One of them was a joke because I said Twitter because Charlie Brooker voted.
You said Persona 4, which obviously came out on PS3 and then was
it said
re-released on the
Vita,
Vita.
didn't it? Yeah, it said Vita games, and I thought, well, Golden was on the Vita, wasn't it? But that's what threw me when you said it could start at the 3DS. Was it in 2012?
Yeah. So according to
2013?
Wikipedia, the 8th generation of video game consoles primarily includes the home video game consoles of the Wii U, released in 2012, the PlayStation 4 family in 2013, the Xbox One family in 2013, the handheld game consoles of the Nintendo 3DS, released in 2011, the PlayStation Vita in 2011, as well as the hybrid game console, the Nintendo Switch, in 2017. So pretty much anything that came out on those since they came out or up until they were replaced with something, we're allowing. But it has to be new releases, and obviously PC games in that time span as well, we're allowing. But it has to be first release on one of those consoles, or if it's a PC game, I guess, after 2011, if 2011 is the starting point that we're allowing with 3DS and Vita. So, 3DS, I've got to change my list. I didn't see 3DS on there.
Yeah, that's what threw me.
God.
3DS just opened up a whole new list. I sat there reading long lists of games. Do you know what? I joked to the guys before show that I started reading the list of the games and thinking there weren't that many good games, and then I reached like B on the list. Basically, none of the games that started with hashtags, numbers, the letter A, I was particularly fussed about. But then once I got past those 60, 70 games on Wikipedia, I was like, okay, this generation was pretty cool. So yeah, how do you want to do it? Do you just want us to start shouting games at you?
We'll do the normal system. We'll do it the way we did the Game of the Year. We'll each do our top 5s. And then argue it down to a 4 that we can then pick a winner from and put the 4 on Twitter for a vote as well. So everyone else can have their say and see if they agree with us or if they're wrong. So I guess we each need to have our lists of 5. My list of 5 has become a list of 9 already. So I need to eliminate. I've just added 2 more while we've been talking because I realised that 3DS was allowed. So now
mine's a list of 11. So yeah, should we let Anna and Pab go first while we?
I think we probably should. Anna, do you want to go first? What are your top 5 games of this generation?
I need to find my phone.
Oh,
assuming it'd be Borderlands 3 and Fallout 70, whatever it was, 6, 8, I can't remember.
Fallout 4 came in this generation.
She can't be putting Fallout 4 on the list. You make a mockery of the whole affair of Fallout 4
to be fair,
on the list.
Kev, you're going to make
while
a
Anna
mockery
thinks,
of it,
Kev.
Okay.
While to give Anna an extra couple of minutes because I've remembered something. We didn't talk about who won our previous vote.
We did an entire podcast on it, Sheepdog. I think what you're confusing with is who was the winner compared to what did them people think.
Yeah, what did them people think? Let's have a quick look.
No idea. I didn't even check. I'm that disinterested. I didn't even check.
Wow.
Let me just quickly rattle through, find that tweet.
So the final 4 were Sheepdog.
Last of Us, Animal Crossing, Ghost of Tsushima, and Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, that was such a dumb list.
In 4th place was Ghost of Tsushima.
Beaten by Cyberpunk. Amazing. That's
in
a
3rd place was
roaring
Cyberpunk,
review for that.
Which got a lot of love on Twitter. So many people were like, I know Kev said Pab was an idiot, but Pab's right, Cyberpunk's awesome. And it was like, okay, cool. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. In 2nd place, by 1%, was Animal Crossing, and The Last of Us 2, won with 31% of the vote. So a third of voters voted for Last of Us 2, and that was our choice too. So yeah,
that was
you are correct.
The Game of the Year. Congratulations, The Last of Us 2. So someone needs to be putting that on their list here. It's got to qualify. Should automatically go through. But Anna, have you got your 4 ready?
Yep.
Your 5, sorry.
And it wouldn't be Borderlands, because my favourite Borderlands was 2, and that came out on PlayStation 3, and I would not be allowed that, would I, Kevin?
Yeah, exactly, Sheepdog, you idiot.
Okay.
No, I knew that 3 wasn't her favourite one, but I would have thought it would have at least made her top 5 because it's Borderlands.
It's alright, it wasn't great.
Well, they failed you.
She's not as one-dimensional as you think, Sheepdog.
In no particular order is What Remains of Edith Finch.
I knew you were going to vote that one.
I love that game.
I do.
I will make everyone in the world play that game. It's so good.
To be honest, it's my number 10 on my list of 9. It was.
See,
I removed it because
so
I thought,
good.
that can't win, so let's take that out.
Huh.
And then the next 4 are all AAA and quite recent, because they're games I enjoy playing the most, which is Red Dead 2, because that story just took me places I was not ready to go. I didn't want that story to end, but it did. It was excellent. If you've not played it, get through the first 5 hours and then you'll be on your way. I'd say 5 hours. That's just to get you out of the snow.
Which is why I'm not going to play it.
And then the next one is Detroit, because there is so many different ways to play this game. Like, Sheepdog missed out a whole story.
Yeah, let's say it like it is. Sheepdog played it wrong. There's so many ways to play the game. Sheepdog did it wrong.
Oh, you missed out on a big story arc. You should go back and play and move.
I've played it with my wife, kind of, and I kind of guessed how that story's going. I don't know if I'm right. One day she'll finish it. I did say to her, while writing my list, I did say to her, you need to finish this game, and we will at some point, I think, because I'll follow that story.
The game's mad. Like, you can miss so much, but then you can have such, like, so many story, and it's a lot. There's a lot there, and it's just, there's a lot of choice, Next one is the new God of War. Love that game. That was the funnest God of War I've played in a long while.
Get that on the poster. The funnest God of War.
Well, because I've played all the other ones and they were hack and slash, and yes, they were fun at the time, but they were just basically go here and just like you would hack and slash your way through. And then you got like the ones that we played like back when I ripped off someone's head. That got a bit more like open worldy, but it wasn't. And then this one came out and blew me away. It was fantastic. Loved that game. Just so many things to do. There was a snake, there was gods, there was just everything, and the way the game ended, I was like, everything just tied in and just everything about that, because it also, like, because of what was happening in the game, I was like, oh, well, I know what Thor is because I've watched Avengers, and I know what these people do because I've watched this, that, and the other. So, great game. Loved it. Fun. And I do like a bit of Kratos and a bit of action. Yeah. Now, I'm stuck because I did love Odyssey, Assassin's Creed, but I think there's been too many Assassin's Creeds to
It's not the
narrow
Odyssey
it down.
I thought you were going to go for then, Anna.
So, my last one, and again, in no particular order, is The Last of Us 2. Because it was such a good game. I've played it twice.
I'm really surprised that Assassin's Creed missed out on your list.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised.
It's just because there's so many of them in this generation, and some of them were pants, like really awful.
That shouldn't rule out the fact that Odyssey was very good, though.
It was very good, but Odyssey was a grind at the end of it. There was times in there I was like, nope, not going to play this ever again. Stupid game. Because you had to be certain levels to do certain things to get to the end of the game, and I didn't like that. That you had to go out and just go and kill some lions and some chickens, and like I found this chicken cell the other day, and I had to fight all these chickens, and they are mean chickens.
All
just
chickens
so
are
many
mean.
mean chickens. Yeah,
It's because they're
So, yeah.
ex-dinosaurs.
So the Last of Us 2. Again, they're all quite recent. It's just that's when I've had most.
Well, that's how it should work. The developers should get better at making games as a generation goes on. That's exactly how it should work. I'm going to go next because I never go early on these things, and I feel like going early. I'm like I said, well, if I include Edith Finch, I've got 10. I'm going to do my honourable mentions.
Limit the football managers into one, Kev. That's what we need to do.
Football manager, I'm not including because there's no point, because none of you lot are going to vote for it. So what's the point? Otherwise, it would just be the 5 most recent football managers. Other honourable mentions, I loved Super Mario Galaxy. I loved Super Mario Maker 2. They just can't fit into the 5. Pokemon Go very nearly got onto my 5 because...
It's not on my list. I'm adding that now.
It was so much fun, but it kind of misses out because of a similar thing that I thought was even better. Stardew Valley was on my list for so long, and in the end, couldn't squeeze into the top 5 either. But I played that at length on the Switch when I first got the Switch. Even more than I did Animal Crossing, probably. Stardew Valley, I loved that. But my top 5 is Persona 5 because it's so good. Yeah. I bought it twice. I bought the £80 version twice. You know, that's when you know a game is good. I spent £160 on that game because they gave me a CD to listen to in the car. And that was enough. Here, have another £100. The Last of Us 2, because it was awesome and it's probably going to win the whole thing, I imagine. If Detroit doesn't, and that's also on my list as well. Civilization 6, because I played it to death on multiple different systems. And my 5th one that snuck in when you all reminded me the 3DS existed, and is the reason Pokemon Go's not in the top 5 anymore, is Street Pass. Because I absolutely loved Street Pass. I think that might be my favourite gaming experience of the entire generation. Just wandering around EGX, doing my Street Passes. But not just because it was fun doing it at events, although it was fun getting 100, 150 Street Passes over the course of a weekend at EGX. I still have those visions of back when it was down in Earl's Court and we'd just wander around the streets and everybody had their 3DS out. Everybody, like 2012, 2013, everyone was doing Street Pass. It was incredible. But I'd take it everywhere with me. If I went on the train, I'd be sat there doing my Street Passes. I was gutted the day I completed that because I was so tempted. I was so tempted just to delete it and start again. But by that point, it was kind of dying off. And I was a little bit worried I wouldn't finish it a second time. And I wanted it to live there finished on my DS. I almost bought another DS to be able to do it again.
I saw a tweet from one of the ladies who works for Pokemon Go, funnily enough, that you mentioned the two, who said, I really want to resurrect the 3DS Game Pass. She was like, I genuinely think when we have Pokemon Go events, we should all bring our 3DSs and do Street Pass. And I remember replying to it, and it just made me think that was a great period when we used to go to events. When you first said about it, I remember thinking, nobody plays this. We're not in Japan. We're not. This isn't Japan where everyone lives in the future and we all walk around with our 3DSs going, yeah, it's Street Pass forever. We're in the real world, Kevin, and nobody does it. And then I took mine down with me and was like, okay, everyone's doing this. My son started playing it, and obviously he can't complete it because we're in 2020. And I just said to him, look, he hasn't remembered, but I was like, if you remember, every day I'll turn mine on, you turn yours on, and you'll just get a pass from me daily, and you can just complete it bit by bit. And he's done like little bits of the Street Pass quest one, where you do the dungeons and that, but he hasn't got very far, and he keeps forgetting that it exists. But you're right, that needs to be implemented again in some way.
Well, my great hope was always that it would appear on mobile phones, and the answer was always the tech wasn't there. But if there's one good thing that's going to come out of COVID, this contact tracing thing, when this is all done and we don't need that anymore, that's the tech. That someone just needs to say, right, well, I'll have this now, and we're going to be doing Street Pass with it. Thank you. And just put it in my phone. Nintendo have done phone apps. Nintendo, I know you listen. When COVID's over and done and the contact tracing stuff's got nothing to do on our phones, for goodness sake, give me Street Pass in my phone and I will give you all of the money. Whatever you want to charge, I'll buy everyone's copy of it. I want it.
If they decide herd immunity is the thing, then they could just give everyone who's got COVID a little Street Pass picture, and we'll just all complete our COVID pictures together. We can all just go out. I've got it. See how many people you've come into contact with. That would have been a great way for them to implement this track and trace app. All the cured people I've seen could have a picture of Dr. Mario, and all the sick people could have a picture of Bowser coughing or something.
There you go, Nintendo, make it happen. But Street Pass, Street Pass! I don't care what the outcome of this is. Street Pass is the game of the generation. It was brilliant. And I've not even mentioned all of the games that were part of it as well. We're just talking about the swapping of the actual puzzle pieces, but there was actually some quite fun gameplay stuff that was involved in this as well, with extra things to go and complete. And obviously I did all them as well because I'm a nerd. But yeah, it was just literally hours of fun at every event. And Anna would have to sit there watching me be a 9-year-old on the train on the way home, or even partway through the day, we'd be walking around the show floor. Sorry, got to stop. I've got my 10 street passes. I need to just deal with them before we walk any further. So I don't want to waste any walking around where I'm not going to be getting street passes. Oh, and it was your fault I got into it, Anna, because you took my white DS to the first one of those events. And off the back of that was when we walked around the Trafford Centre and all bought DSs because we had to. And Sheepdog was faffing about. Oh, I don't know.
Why did we have to?
Because I really wanted Street Pass.
Good, yeah.
Wow.
You managed to get Sheepdog to spend hundreds of pounds on a whim. That's how good this was. That is the reason to vote for it more than anything. Sheepdog, when was the last time you spent a couple of £100 on something on a whim? That's how good this was. You whimmed it. This was a Sheepdog whim.
Yeah. At the time, I think the real whim was that I really wanted to play the Pokemon games.
Shut your face. It was Street Pass.
Yeah, you are right. It's on my big list, but I don't think I'm going to add it in.
You don't get a list then. We'll go to Pab next.
Yeah.
Pab, start with Street Pass and then give us your next 4.
Street Pass didn't even cross my mind, I'm afraid.
Well, I've now given you an argument for it, so you're allowed to change your list.
No, I'm not going to. I'm afraid not.
Really?
Right, well, get started on your list, Pab. Oh, I'm just going to beep you out and put Street Pass in.
Stop it.
Okay. You did realise who edits this. Right. So, some honourable mentions like you did.
Street Pass. Well done, Pab.
Okay, sure.
I like Street Pass.
Thanks, Pab.
Yeah. Right, so we're going to go with Spider-Man.
Are these your honourable mentions, or is this your list?
These are my honourable mentions.
Okay.
So I went for. I said Spider-Man went on my shortlist simply because it's the first platinum I ever got, and it's the first game I've wanted to platinum.
Oh my god! Doesn't he bring it up a lot? By the way, I got a platinum.
No, he does, doesn't he? He's turned into his Metroidvania.
I've got 2 now. Technically, I got 3 because I got the platinum again on PS5 when I transferred my save over.
Your number 1 game is a Metroidvania, Pab.
No, shush.
That will complete.
It's a roguelike, of course.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes, shush. Yeah, it's one of the few games that I felt the incentive to platinum, and it's no other game has done that before now. So that made probably my top 10. Another one that made that, because I was like Sheepdog was doing, I was going through the list of games and what have you, and games that I've played over this generation. One that came to mind was Overwatch, and I played so much Overwatch, so much so that I was even when my friends that I was playing it with stopped playing, I continued to play and went into like voice chat and chatted with people in the game. I wouldn't have done that realistically.
You even dragged me into it one night. I remember having one night of pleasure with you on Overwatch.
Yeah, it's a very good game. It's a very good game, and it's kind of it's like it's still going to this day, and it's a very good team-based shooter game, which there wasn't a ton of at the time. I don't feel. And on that kick, something that I continue to play to this day is Rocket League. That was under my shortlist as well, and Rocket League was huge when it came out. I mean, it did help that it was on PS Plus, and it just gave itself like a massive audience base immediately. But it's still a damn good game, still a very, very good game. And like I say, I play it to this day. I play it every now and again. Someone just goes, "Oh, we're playing Rocket League, yeah, alright," and we just play some Rocket League, a few games, and it's still damn fun. still very good fun. Rocket League. The other one I've got on my list, on my short list, it was very hard for me not to put this on the list, was Firewatch.
That would probably be in my top 12.
What was it?
Firewatch.
Oh, yeah.
I love Firewatch. I've only ever played it once. I played it once, and that's all I need. Because it was such a story and such a so good, and it just it was a real story that was with payoff and everything about it was just amazing. And like I say, I don't think I've bought it on at least 2 other systems and just never played it. I don't think I will. I don't think I'll ever play it again. Because I don't want to change the experience that I had with it. But yeah, it was close. It was close. But I had to I had to make a decision, and here we are. The final one for honorable mentions is going to be Last of Us 2. Yeah, we've discussed about Last of Us 2 enough to say how good a game that is, and it was our game of last year. But I don't know why, but there's something. I don't know what it was, but I just ended up not putting it on the list, and
you're a monster.
I know. Well, I also realised that at least one of you guys would put it on the list, so I thought
That's absolutely cheating.
How's that cheating? How's that cheating? That is, anyway, never mind. So my top 5. Well, not in any order. First one I'm putting on is Control.
Wow.
I spoke highly of this game and wouldn't stop talking about this game when it came out.
Oh, we remember.
2 years ago, 2019 was it? Yeah, and it is such a good game that Remedy have made, and I feel like they've been building up to this game for years with what was it, Alan Wake, the other one that they made that wasn't as good, and then they've come to this. I can't remember the name of it now. The name of it's not coming to me, but yeah, it's such a good game, and the story is just very bizarre. That's the thing. A lot of these games that I've got on my list are because of a lot of its story. Story for me is key in a lot of games, and it's just a bizarre story which leads you down a path, and you just don't know where it's going, and so many events are just kind of mind blowing in the game, and the game, like I say, the game itself has to be good as well. To be fair, and the gameplay itself is very good. Yeah, I said at the time when it came out and the game of the year that we did for 2019 that it probably would be one of my games for the generation, and it is. It genuinely is. The next one I've put on here is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes.
It shouldn't be on the list.
Well, let's take it off then.
Because it's a game that it requires so much of you. It is such a hard game to get into. As in, the barrier to entry is so great. But you put the time to it, you commit to it, you will not be disappointed. I genuinely think that I didn't like that game initially. I just couldn't get into it, and it annoyed the hell out of me that I was punching my horse and doing all sorts of stuff, and when I didn't want to. And
yeah.
This, but like I said again, the story, it is something special. It is genuinely something very, very good. And like I said, I didn't want that game to end. And when it ended, I was kind of like, oh, it's just gutted. And time and time again, I think I've still got that on Xbox. I've still got the save on Xbox because I played it on PC this year. 2020, last year. And I initially got it on Xbox, and I thought I could go back and just play it all again on Xbox. And I regularly think that. I regularly think I could go and play it on Xbox because I did next to nothing in it. I played main story pretty much only.
Is that it?
I did very little side quests. So little exploring because I just wanted to experience the story.
See, that's what got me on that, is that I just kept riding off into the distance and doing side quests. And so I don't think I particularly played more than 10 hours, but I was just so off on my own stuff that I got a bit lost in it. And I think I said before, I mean, I've said many a time I stumbled across the clan and ended up getting killed, and then I
never did.
Like I haven't really gone back to it after that, because it's just like I can't help but I think the next time I went back on it, I thought I'm going to go out and I'm going to eradicate the clan, and I just couldn't find them. It's such a big world. I think I could get back into it if I had the time, but I just don't. It's too epic.
It is.
I feel like they deserve the money I spent on it, but I ain't ever going to get my money's worth out of it, because I just think
it's one of them games that you become paralysed by choice. You're like, I don't know where to go, and that's why I was so had my blinkers on with just focusing on the main story. As in, I don't want to know what's going on over here. There's something over here. I can see something in my peripheral vision waving at me saying, "Come over here," and I'm going, "No, just follow the main story." Because if you don't, it's a 2 or 3 hour side quest over that way, and I can't do it. Red Dead's very good. If you give it the time and you commit to it, it is a very, very good story. The next one I've put on here is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and
wondered if that would make it.
I was expecting some groans, if I'm honest with you. This game. I think of games of this last generation. I think of games that have taken over, taken me over, and this one is one of those games. When it came out, I played solidly for about 3 months, and even when my friends on Discord were saying we were playing this game or whatever, I'd be like, no, I'm playing this. That just leave me out of any conversations with multiplayer games or anything. I'm just playing this right now. This is my game, and there's very few games that can hold my attention to the point where my friends are playing a game and I'm not interested in joining that fun. I'd rather be doing this right now. And Zelda did that for the first 3 to 4 months of the Switch being out. It's an open world game where, like Red Dead, in some aspects, the possibilities are endless. The game itself, for the entire year, the first year the Switch came out, people were consistently going, look at what we just did on Breath of the Wild. Look, how did we not see this? You could do this. And look at the things that can be done on Breath of the Wild. It's insane, the amount of things you can do. And you can literally come out of the starting area and go and beat the last boss, the main boss, immediately, if you wanted to. The speedrun is something like 21 minutes for this game. It's really hard. It's not easy doing that, but you can do it if you wanted to, or you can spend 400 hours in that game and never get to the end boss. There's that much stuff in it to do, and the amount of things you can do in it, the aim of the game is to beat Ganon, and to do that you can do it straight away, but you want to beat the divine beasts. There's 4 divine beasts in the map, but on the way there's everything on the way. There's shrines that you use to make little puzzle rooms. A
fish person.
That's one of the areas. Yeah, the Zora domain. Yeah, that is one of them. But the way you do things, so there's a snowy area, but you can't get to. If you go to the snowy area, it's too cold. So you need to either get gear from somewhere, buy gear, or craft food that is going to allow you to do that. And then you get food from just picking stuff up off the floor. You get weapons from picking stuff off the floor. It did things that no other game has done before. The game of if you want to go somewhere, you can go there. It lets you climb anything, literally anything. If you have the stamina to do it, you can climb it. And it made
known for my stamina.
Made countless opportunities open to you, because there's so many different ways to do things and different things you can uncover. just it kind of changed the way we do open world games a little bit, and we're starting to see that now. Like say 2017 this game came out, and now we have seen in the year 2020 Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is very much akin to something like that, and Genshin Impact, something again very very like kind of Breath of the Wild-esque. And like I say, going forward, it is the way. It's going to be, that DNA is going to be used in open world games going forward, and I feel like that has to be recognised. The next game on the list is God of War.
Yes.
Like Anna said, it is. I said I was doing this podcast tonight, and somebody and one of my other Discords, and they said to me immediately, God of War. God of War's game of the generation, no doubt. And they said it's probably the best game I've ever played. And I can't really argue with them, really. Like, again,
would you like me to?
I know you're going to, but the game itself is such a good game. Like I wasn't keen initially. You have there is like it plays different to any other God of War game, for better in my opinion, because it came, like you said, the previous ones were a bit hack and slash and a bit button mashy. This one required a bit more subtlety, and I wasn't keen on the camera angle initially because the camera was very tight like right behind you, and I wasn't keen on it initially. But you get used to it, and the story is what pulled me through. The story is what pulled me through that game.
Yeah.
The story itself is so good with Kratos and Atreus. It's so good.
Boy,
indeed. And yeah, so good. Not much. I mean, like I say, you've spoken to it, and
I love the game.
Yeah, it's such a good game, and I wouldn't disagree with it being.
I played the first 7 or 8 hours and just got bored and stopped.
You're missing out, Kevin.
Yeah.
I played 7 or 8 hours and it was boring.
It's so worth it, though.
Yeah, it is. It is very good.
If it's not gripping me after 8 hours, it's really not.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You played Football Manager too many hours, like. Yeah, you're wrong.
I've played Football Manager for more hours today than I've played in God of War.
But that doesn't mean it's a better game, does it?
Oh, it absolutely does.
Wow.
Okay, so the last one is, and
I swear you've done like 10. Go on, Bob.
No, I've done 4. This is my 5th one. It's The Witcher 3.
Oh well, you've just ruined the list that I was about to talk through in a minute. Go on.
What, yours? You putting Witcher 3 in it?
No, not my list. I'll explain when I get there, Pab. But go on.
Okay, The Witcher 3.
Ruiner.
The Witcher 3.
To be fair, you ruined 2, but go on.
No, get out of it. The Witcher 3 is pro. If somebody said to me immediately, like just said to me, "What's your favourite game?" It probably would be Witcher 3. Witcher 3, like, it's again the story. The story is so damn good. Story is one of the best stories out there, and not only is the main story very good, it has like the side quests and the branching stories that go off of the main story are some of the better stories than most games will ever put out. And yeah, it's so good.
Redefine the Metroidvania for you.
It's not a Metroidvania.
I know it's not. No one knows what that
is.
You're making up words.
So many of these games, like 3 of my 5 are open world games.
The DLC of that game ruined it for me.
The DLC did? Why is that?
Ruined it because I couldn't get past it.
Right.
I was on a vampire thing and I couldn't get past it, and it ruined the whole experience for me. I was so
vampire.
sad. Yeah, they've.
I feel like, Anna, that is the very last thing in the game.
Yeah, and I can't do it.
Yeah, I got stuck with that as well. I'm gonna be honest with you, I got stuck with that as well, and I watched a video on like saying, "What am I missing here?" And even then, I still couldn't do it, and I turned the difficulty down to like easy mode because I just couldn't fathom out what it was to do.
Yeah.
But the journey itself to get to that point was just.
Oh yeah, that was all great, but it was that bit I just got stuck on it and I couldn't do it, and I was so annoyed.
Yeah,
because I like that
to be fair, that is the very end of the game. That is the very end of the game.
Yeah.
yeah, this is, like I said about Breath of the Wild, this game is one of those games that had my attention for months and months and months. Because, like, and when a game does that, that's, to me, tells me it's something special, that it holds my attention and it doesn't, like, nothing deters me from playing it. And, yeah, like I say, the combat takes something to get used to. I will be honest with you, the gameplay itself is an acquired taste in certain aspects, but once you got it, it makes other games feel like, why is nobody else doing this? But yeah, once you get it, it's fine, and the world is amazing. It looks staggeringly beautiful, and the story is just wild. The main like I said, there's 2 DLCs to this game as well, which to me have better stories than the main story itself, which is bonkers.
Yeah.
And them both DLCs are probably at least 20 hours each as well. As well as the 80 odd hours that you can probably put into the main story. There's so much stuff in it. I can't even remember half of the stuff in it, and I've literally own it on everything. I own it on everything. I got it on PC when it first came out. I then bought it on PS4 when I got a PS4 Pro. I then got it on Xbox One when I got an Xbox One X, and when it came out on Switch, I immediately bought it as well. I bought it on everything, and I've only played it realistically on PC and Switch.
I bought it on everything, and I've played it on nothing. So,
yeah.
well, I played about 10 hours of it on the Xbox, and maybe an hour on the Switch. But I do keep buying it because I like the look of it, and I like playing Gwent.
Yeah, you should just buy Gwent. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got Gwent on Steam.
Well, there you go. Just play that then.
Just open a little Gwent shack somewhere in your town and just play it.
Occasionally, I consider it my guilty pleasure. Occasionally, I've got Gwent and Hearthstone just sat there on my computer, and occasionally, if I've got 20 minutes, I'll just have a go on one. I like them.
Wow,
they're fun. I like that kind of game. Apparently,
interesting. Yeah, that's my top 5.
So
got nothing else to say.
The reason you ruined one of my lists, Pab, was I did a lot of looking around online, as we talked about before the show, just because I was interested, really. When Kev said how big it was, it made me go back and check I hadn't missed anything. But one thing I found was a lot of people have done these game mid-generation lists, and I was interested to see what was on them.
How dare they copy us?
I know. A lot of them did them in September and October, so we're a little bit behind. But
no, we were letting the generation end.
Yeah. But one of the things I noticed was the top 5 in most of the lists, and I read it and I thought, I'll be honest, with Zelda, I thought Pab might vote that. The other 4 on the list, I didn't think anyone would. And so I wanted to throw it out there to just show what the top 5 pretty much everywhere for the generation was. We don't normally do this. Zelda was pretty high on pretty much every list. Witcher 3 appeared on a lot, but I didn't think any of you were going to vote for it. I was a little bit surprised to hear that that's Pab's favourite game ever. I thought I knew Pab. Turns out I know nothing.
He talked about that all the time when that was going on.
Yeah, when it was going on, but I know it's a while ago now. Uncharted 4 is on everything. Titanfall 2 was on so many lists.
People are such cretins.
And Destiny 2, which I knew would get that sort of reaction.
What a bunch of meathead tool sacks.
And I was surprised because I didn't think Destiny... I mean, I know I'm not known for my in-depth gaming knowledge and prowess, but I didn't think Destiny 2 was that well received.
Well, obviously they paid Kotaku and IGN enough to put them on their lists.
It wasn't just them two, though. I checked quite a few just to see. Because I just thought, the big 2-3 people, sure, they might have just been paid. But no, lots of people had Titanfall 2, and I'm pretty sure... Good. Sorry?
Titanfall 2 is very good.
Yeah, I was going to say, other than Pab, I'm pretty sure none of us played it, and...
Because we played the first one, and it was dross.
It's just robots jumping around, shooting each other, innit?
I loved the first couple of minutes of the original Titanfall tutorial, and then you had to get in the robots, and it ruined it. But when you were just running around bouncing off the walls, I thought, this is fantastic! And then, we've got to get in.
That's why
next.
you go to that trampoline place, isn't it?
Yeah.
So When you told me again that the gen started with the DS, that sent me spiraling on a bit of confusion and I remembered, I've added to my list since you've been talking, because I remembered I bought my DS wanting Pokemon X and Y when that was coming out, and then it reminded me when you were talking that I'd spent that whole car journey and that whole weekend away playing Pokemon Conquest while you were ordering your TGIs and having your breakfasts, and I was so into it because it was such an epic game. So I put them two on my short list, but then I thought, do you know what? My number one game on the 3DS, the one that I think I'll remember the 3DS for, would be Pokemon Ultra Moon, because I bloody love the Sun and Moon games. I bought Pokemon Moon, completed it, immediately bought Pokemon Ultra Moon, and then bought my son Pokemon Sun. Played that with him, played Ultra Moon myself. When lockdown happened, I was obsessively playing Pokemon Ultra Moon because I didn't realise, I didn't complete Ultra Moon at first just because I got so far through it. I just ended up trying to, catch everything and didn't really finish the story. But there was an absolutely brilliant thing in that meant you could basically catch loads of missing stuff and essentially get all of the Pokemon and all of this. So I played that through.
See, I've still got that sealed. I never finished.
Really?
I never finished Moon, so I never unwrapped Ultra Moon. But it sat in my cupboards. In fact, no, I think Anna sold it just before.
I sold it.
Yeah, just before we moved house when I was clearing out my office, and it was just in there, still sealed.
I think when we went into lockdown in April last year, or whenever it was March last year, I kind of realised I hadn't completed it. And I don't think I would have survived the first month or two of lockdown if I hadn't have been obsessively playing that.
That's why you weren't playing Animal Crossing with the rest of us, you monster.
Yeah, I was... Because the thing was, they brought out Pokemon Home as well, and I could transfer stuff across to it. And then obviously with Sword and Shield there, I was just, it was great. And then once I'd finished with it, and I had exhausted the cartridge, and I've got literally every Pokemon out of it that I could get, my son started playing it, and now he's absolutely... Lockdown 3's just started, and he's like, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through it. He's playing it. And it's just such a great game. Pokemon generations are quite funny because people go nuts about how much they hate them. And then over time they mature and the games get a bit of life behind them and suddenly they're loved. And I remember everyone hating Gen 5, Gen 6 and Gen 7, and now Gen 8's out and people are moaning about it, but people are slowly starting to realise that 7 was absolutely brilliant, and it was, and I already felt it was, The only problem I had with it was its tutorial at the start was way too long, and it forced you to hold your hand through it, but you got to remember these games are aimed at children as well, and
me.
Yeah, exactly. And you benefit from that kind of thing. You've said that in the past.
Absolutely. I need a tutorial.
And Ollie does. It's interesting hearing him, even though he knows quite a lot about it. It's interesting the things he asks me. But Ultra Moon was just perfect. It's great. It was the best way to get 100% of the DS Pokemon out. I filled that up and then moved it all into the new game, and I didn't need to worry about completing the new game as much because I've got a complete set. People like Lewis helped me complete it further, but yeah, I just that's number one on my not in any particular order, but that's the first one I'm talking about on my list because when I thought about it, that was the first one I thought of. I mean, it might have been because Ollie was playing it in the room with me, but I just thought, yeah, that's got to go on there. That is a superb game and it deserves it, but I don't imagine it getting into any finals. I did think about Last of Us 2 because obviously it's a great game and it's a game of 2020, but I'm not putting it into my final 5 because I know, like Pab said, I just assumed it would get voted for, but actually I don't believe it's my game of the generation. To be honest, I don't believe it's in my top 5. So I really, really, really enjoyed it, but I don't know that I don't think it's the best 5 games I've played. I'm gonna rattle through my list of other stuff. I added Street Pass to my list, but then I was kind of looking at what I'd voted for and thought, no, I agree with you that it was absolutely epic for its time. I didn't vote Pokemon Go because I didn't think it counted, and I still don't really think it counts. I think it's a little bit...
I think rich. That was our game of the decade, wasn't it? I think Pokemon won that last year.
It is different. It's separate from Generations, isn't it? Because it's a mobile game. It's more of a... it's not really a game for me anymore. I just kind of play it as a social experience. I left off Mario Maker 2, even though that won our game of the year the last time we did one, didn't it? That was one of our ones we were pushing for. I think it was MGPX. We called that a game of the year, but that was fantastic. I included Sonic Mania on my shortlist because it felt like it resurrected Sonic games for me. Sonic games haven't been good for a long time.
Is this one of your 5 then? Because I'm trying to keep track of what you're nominating.
No, I'll tell you what I've nominated. Don't you worry. Where am I on my list? You've thrown me now, Chapman.
Was Pokemon nominated?
Pokemon Ultra Moon was nominated. Yes.
Right. Okay. And now you're doing something else. Excellent. Please continue.
Sorry. Yeah, well, I just wanted to give mentions to people. It's just that was high on my list. I'm reading it in the order I've written them. So Sonic Mania, I just wanted to mention because it was so good, and I want them to do more games because that was just an absolutely fantastic Sonic game that reminded me of being young and all of that. And it only got knocked out of my list. I'm going to go through my other 4 now because of the amount of time I put into these games. I went with Detroit Become Human because, quite frankly, that should win. Hands down. That should be our game of the generation. And if it's not...
I mentioned that. I said that sentence on my stream last night and was laughed at. Apparently weird jokes because we love Detroit so much.
Yep.
I don't care. It should be our game of the generation. And I feel
will
like...
be. Let's not worry.
Yeah. I was going to say, we'll be betraying ourselves.
Pab's not getting a vote.
So that goes number 1 on the list. That's the winner. I feel like it wouldn't look mental to vote for Spider-Man. I feel like that was a fantastic game. I know I got to it late, but I love it. I loved it. It was brilliant. Weirdly, it's hard to play the Miles Morales one because it just feels like an add-on to that game. It doesn't live up to it as much because it is just an add-on to that game. And I was expecting to be elevated, whereas it's just like, oh, it's that light. Where that game is a pinnacle. I can't wait for them to do a Spider-Man 2, a proper one. So that is my 3rd one. So Pokemon Ultra Moon, Detroit Become Human, Spider-Man. I was thinking about what my favourite games I've played on each of my consoles were. Weirdly, I don't think I've got... I know I have got an Xbox One on the list, but it was multi-platform, so it doesn't really count as an Xbox game. But Arkham Knight, the Batman game, I know you didn't like it. But when Pab said about Spider-Man and being the first one he platinumed, this is the first game I got over. Well, you had to get 200% to 100% this, but I did. I played it to death. I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant, and I knew no one else was going to vote it. I knew the reaction was going to be really, but Arkham Knight was a fantastic game that undermined itself with that driving mission thing. The Batmobile, fighting the Arkham Knight in the Batmobile. People didn't like that. If that wasn't there, this game would have been lauded by everyone. It was a great game, and I just kind of persevered through those bits. I feel like they will regret that for the rest of their careers. Because
I stopped and never looked back.
Yeah, that game should be a no-brainer. It should be up there with Spider-Man as a fantastic... It is a fantastic game, undermined by a gimmick that was a gamble on their part. And then lastly, I feel like I should have made that my 5th one because my last one's going to feel anticlimactic. But I feel like the game I've enjoyed most on my Switch that wasn't a Pokemon game because I didn't want to be too one-dimensional was just how brilliant Mario Odyssey was. I absolutely loved it. It's a great little game. When you said Odyssey earlier, Anna, I thought, surely you're not voting Mario Odyssey, but I am because I feel like that is better than any Zelda game could be. It was just epic and brilliant, and I loved it. And it's another game where I just felt like I wanted to... I couldn't 100% now because it was too bloody hard, but I wanted to, and I tried. And it's one of the few games where I kept banging my head against a wall, trying to do things that I'm just not capable of doing, because Mario games have that stupid... It becomes, the learning curve becomes vertical after a point, and unless you're inhuman, you can't beat it. So I'm adding that to my list, knowing full well it's not going to get into any kind of final 5, but I loved it, and I do love it.
Excellent. Well, looking through the lists, we've actually got a 4 that presents itself just through the voting. I don't know if we want to have an argue. Detroit is definitely through because 3 out of the 4 of us have voted for Detroit. And then with 2 votes each, there's Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, and The Last of Us 2. Each get 2 votes each. So based on my maths and my notes, that's your final 4, unless anybody who nominated one of those has decided they want to withdraw a vote and throw it behind something else instead. But it looks like they're the 4.
Don't we throw our votes behind something else? Can't I like throw a vote behind Street Pass and suddenly it's even with God of War and Red Dead? I feel like any game you've got to spend 10 hours on to enjoy is too much. I feel like like I said,
is more than 10 hours.
Yeah, but you enjoy that all the time because it's a never-ending perfect bit of
No,
fun.
it's not. No, it's not. Because what happens when you don't have people to play it with?
Then you should get some mates, Pab.
You play the quest.
But with nobody?
Well, you go through all the people you've stored
You
up.
do
I know what
what
you're saying.
I
Like
did
my son
and make
can't
your
play it.
Wi-Fi router a Street Pass hub in your house, which was
Yeah,
doable.
'cause that's what
There was
everybody did that.
tutorials for doing it.
Everybody did that.
Is that what you did?
You needed a Raspberry Pi to do it, and I had a Raspberry Pi plugged into the router. I only had it like for a couple of days, but it was pretty sweet while that was running.
Kevin.
I could finally find a use for my Raspberry Pi and maybe get my son up to speed with it. I don't know. I just feel like they're not bad options. They just feel a little bit like.
I wouldn't disagree with that realistically.
I feel like out of those 4, if Detroit isn't our winner, then what?
Detroit shouldn't be our winner.
It should be our winner. It's definitely.
We will be the laughing stock of podcasts. Not that we aren't, but. If that is the game of a generation.
No, what all that means is all the other wangs out there who judge their games based on how shooty or stupid it is don't understand a well-crafted story. Story is what it's all about, and the best story of the generation was in Detroit. No. And anyone who disagrees with that is a moron.
No.
Which one of these other games has a better story than that, Pab?
Red Dead has a better story than that. God of War has a better story than that.
A better story that you have to spend bloody 10 hours getting into. Come on, Pab.
I'd rather spend that 10 hours walking through the snow than play Detroit again.
But it was so boring I didn't get out of the snow, Pab. It was so boring.
Imagine a game so dynamic that you can accidentally kill one of the main characters and still play a game.
Sheepdog.
Go on.
Right? You've been through the lists, right? You went through the lists. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many even put Detroit on it?
Well, the thing is, Pab, how many even put Destiny 2 and Titanfall 2 on them? All of them. So this aren't an argument, mate.
They've made themselves idiots by putting stuff like that on there. They know nothing.
I'm telling you,
a lot of them had Battlefield and COD games on them, Pab.
Bottom line, I've played all 4 of these. I loved Detroit and played it through to the end. I loved The Last of Us 2 and played it through to the end. Both God of War and Red Dead I got bored of and stopped.
I've played 3 out of 4 of these, Pab, and I really do like The Last of Us. I just feel like it's... The Last of Us 2
is a better game than Detroit, hands down.
I don't think it's a better story by far. I think it's an okay... It's a good story.
Are you kidding?
It's a dramatic story.
The thing is with Detroit, for me, is that the game, it's fine. It's fine. But it is so cliche... It's so ham-fisted.
Well, no,
it's
so your decisions,
clumsy.
though, because I didn't think my game was cliche.
Eye-rolling. I forever eye-rolling at that game of like, it's predictable. It is just...
It's completely dynamic. How is it predictable, you numbskull?
It plays to your
choices. You see the story come from a mile away. What's going to happen? And it's...
How do you... I mean,
how do you mean, how do you? It's not hard.
Guessed one of the plot points that I think there is a plot point with the female character that I didn't end up playing with that I can guess. But other than that, the rest of it I couldn't, and it was very good.
It's not that. It's fine. The story and stuff is fine. But to say that Last of Us 2 doesn't have a better... Last of Us 2 is
Should we put this to a vote the way we always do? Because Pab's wrong and we're never going to convince him of it.
All right, we'll wait till what the audience says and see.
The audience are clueless as well. They know nothing.
Right. Kevin,
that's too far. But,
I'm sorry. I'm going to offend the 3 people who listen to the podcast. I apologise to all 3 of you individually. Sorry, Lee.
Do you know one, just as an aside while Kev calms down, one thing I did notice when you were talking about God of War and how growing up and good the story suddenly become compared to like the button mashing, it did make me think, and I added it to my list just because I wanted to acknowledge it. A lot of games kind of grew up this gen. And like, do you remember how lame and cheesy Mortal Kombat games were, and suddenly I know they were made by the same people who made Injustice, but suddenly they became cinematic. I haven't played 11 yet, and I keep waiting for it to appear on Game Pass because 10 was fantastic. 10 was like a proper gritty, dark film with these ludicrous characters, but they all felt serious. And I was just looking through it thinking, like, even like they added a bit of a plot to a Sonic game, for God's sakes. You know, plot and story has really leveled up. I did have South Park as a game on my list because I just thought even the plots to that were surprisingly good for a game. You just wouldn't expect it. Games 2 generations before that were trash in comparison for plot. They were good for playing for hours. Now think about it. Like, what I mean by that is compare the original South Park game where you're wandering around South Park as this weird little 3D weird thing compared to the full-on episodes you were playing on the new ones. Compare how cheesy Mortal Kombat was. Compare how button mashy God of War was. You know, it's. I mean, even the Red Deads before Redemption were pretty, you know, not as in depth as Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. We've been spoilt by how good these have got. Mario, that wasn't. I mean, it was getting more big with Galaxy, but Odyssey absolutely blew Galaxy away in size and scope. You know, the Spider-Man PS4 game was bigger than the other ones by far, and it's brilliant. We're very lucky. I actually started this list thinking I'm not really sure about this gen, and then ended it thinking, crikey, yeah. But Detroit's definitely the best story we've had, and it should win.
Right, so we all need to do, as always, put these in order, and we'll add points. You know how it works. Yeah. We'll go to Pab first, so he can put Detroit last, because he's Mr. Hipster. And then we'll add it all up at the end and declare our winner. And then, obviously, as ever, put it on Twitter as well, at MGUK Podcast, so you can vote and have your say and have an in-depth discussion with Sheepdog, who'll reply to all of you within 9 minutes of you tweeting at us.
I will. 9 minutes.
So, Pab, put these 4 in order for us.
Okay, so in 4th place we go with Detroit then.
Interesting. It's as far as his thinking had got. He was just going to trash Detroit. But
it's so hard to think of the other 3
Do
now.
we have to vote for them 4?
Yeah.
That's the final 4, yeah.
What was final 4?
The final 4 are Detroit, Last of Us 2, God of War, and Red Dead 2.
Okay, vote Spider-Man, and then it has to go there.
Spider-Man was rubbish. That was even worse than God of War and Red Dead. I lasted 2 hours on that. I lasted 8 or 10 hours in the other 2.
Well, I'll vote Street Pass then.
Instead of what? You're going to withdraw your vote for Detroit?
You withdraw my vote for God of War in the next bit and go for Street Pass. I'll withdraw my vote for Arkham Knight and go for Street Pass then, shall I?
Well, now we've got to eliminate one.
Exactly. Let's eliminate God of War.
The podcast's already an hour and 10 minutes long, Sheepdog.
Yeah, you try and stop. You try and put that past me and Anna.
I haven't even played that.
It's good though.
Well, you should
play it.
Yeah, to be fair, I'll take a picture of my sheet. It says tick tick GOW and then a little circle around the word get with a question mark next to it.
It's such a good game.
To be fair, Sheepdog, if you want it enough, I will send you my copy.
Yeah, go on. And the next time I see you, which we never, let's face it, COVID's
I'll post it to you.
But yeah, post it and I'll play it and then I'll post it back because it does sound good and I like the idea of a father-son game. I'm a sucker
Pab,
for
your
that.
father?
No. Yeah, all right, Pab. You've got my details.
Okay.
Have you just bribed Sheepdog into voting for God of War?
No.
So what's just happened?
I would say
I'd like a free game too. I'll vote for whatever you want. Just give me something for free.
You've already got Red Dead. I haven't got anything else to send you.
Oh, damn it.
My next game would probably be God of War.
Okay. Even though you voted for that one and not for Last of Us because you're a filthy cheat.
No. Listen. I've got to be clever here.
It was always going to happen sooner or later.
I've got to be clever here. I've got to think where I'm putting my points.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to
put them in order, Pab, of which ones you
and then
genuinely
we end
believe
up,
are right.
the laughing stock of
This
podcasts.
is why I put you first, Mr. Tactical Voting.
Next one would be...
You are stuck, aren't you, mate?
He's sat there trying to work out where we're going to vote so he can manipulate the result. That's exactly what he's doing, which is why he's going first.
I'm trying, but you're all talking and breaking my
I'm going to
concentration.
randomly allocate mine just to ruin you.
I'm going to go with Last of
I
Us,
love
then
Red
Dead.
Dead. That's going to be my first one. You went Last of Us, then Red Dead. Okay.
Yes.
Sheepdog, put these 4 games in order.
Right, well, as we've just discussed, I haven't yet played God of War, so it would be number 4 on my list.
Okay.
I think then Red Dead, I'm not against it. I know I'm poking fun at it for taking so long, but I had a lot of fun chasing giant epic bears and hunting the Ku Klux Klan and just accidentally punching my horse and stuff. I've just not got into the story, and I hope I get the time to, because I know there's a good game in there. I wouldn't have been offended if that had won overall, but I haven't played enough of it. I hope I've not stitched this up, because I then put Last of Us as my number 2, and then Detroit is my number 1. I've talked enough about that.
Splendid. Anna?
So let me just go straight. It's Red Dead, Detroit, God of War, Last of Us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Anna, do the right thing.
Detroit.
What is your 4th?
Yeah.
Anna, you voted
I
for
know.
that.
That's right.
Red Dead, God of War, and Last of Us 2. I had so much fun with it.
And then, for anyone wondering, the correct order, which is what I've done, the worst of those 4 by a mile was Red Dead. Didn't enjoy a minute of that. Whereas God of War at least had Triple H in it, so that that gets 3rd place. Yeah, Triple H is the main character in it.
Oh, right. I was like, wait, what? I thought you had a cameo in it. Then you threw me.
Yeah, no, I did. There were parts of God of War I enjoyed. There was not a moment of Red Dead 2 I enjoyed. It was just boredom from start to finish.
Wasn't.
As in, like, finish of Chapter 1, which is as far as I got, because it was so dull.
Oh, it's so bad.
And then Last of Us, and then Detroit was the best game, because obviously it was. So if I just add all those up quickly to see who our winner is... Oh, interesting. So, the final scores. Officially, the MGP Game of the Generation in 4th place with 8 points was God of War. In 3rd place with 9 points was Red Dead Redemption 2. In 2nd place with 10 points was Detroit Become Human. And the Game of the Generation with 13 points... The Last of Us Part 2.
See, I think that makes us more of a joke.
Ridiculous.
Shut up.
That's going to get us mocked more.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It barely made anyone's top 10.
Yeah, that's because they're just
It's
homophobes. That's why.
No. Don't get me wrong. Like I agree. I would have put it my 2nd. But what I'm saying is, I feel like we've just gone. We might as well have put Titanfall 2 there. It's the obvious answer. Disappointed.
What?
Yeah, that makes it the right answer if it's the obvious one, doesn't it?
Opinion.
Yeah. I think I just wanted to win.
Yeah, sheepdog.
I think that's all it is. I'm just being competitive, Pab. I wanted mine to win.
We were arguing
right.
that 2 weeks ago that Last of Us 2 was Game of the Year, and we couldn't sing its praises enough.
Yeah, but are you saying that it... I suppose, to be fair, Kev made the point earlier, as the generation goes on, it should get better. But are we saying that the best thing that happened this generation happened in the last year of it?
It's the same with the previous generation with Last of Us 1.
Yeah, that's what we voted, wasn't it? Christ. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm happy with that. I did genuinely enjoy it. I want my wife to play it. I think she'll love it. I'm trying to encourage her to, that kind of thing. That's to me, that's a sign of a good game, when you're desperate for someone you know and you love to play it because you know you want to share something that good with them. And I made her play Detroit. I haven't made her play Last of Us. I didn't drag her to a console and say, sit down, enjoy this. but I will.
Well, there you go, boys and girls. If you are looking for the correct answer is The Last of Us 2. Of course, you can have your say. It's on our Twitter at MGUK Podcast. Voting will be open for the next week or so, and we'll announce who you declared as your winner probably in about a month's time when we remember. But the right answer is The Last of Us 2. We've just agreed that, and we know more about this stuff than you, because if we didn't, why would you should have a podcast? If you think you know better than us, talk about it on your podcast. We don't want to hear your whinging. Goodness
Where's
me.
your degree in podcasting?
Exactly. And video games. We did double majors in podcasting and video games. Yeah. Exactly. You can also follow me on Twitter. There'll be no polls on there. Or if they are, there won't be about video games. They'll be about socks or something weird like that. That's usually what my polls are about. But you can follow me at Lelujo.
I'm at RB6K.
And you can find me at Pab1986 on Twitter and Twitch. Excellent.
Well, we'll reconvene this conversation at the end of the next generation. What are the chances of the podcast still existing at the end of this generation? That's the most important question. We're entering our third gaming generation as a podcast now.
I wondered this earlier, and whether we'll be let's just declare it for Last of Us 3 now.
That's probably not a bad idea. See you next generation, boys and girls.
Have a good gen.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, folks.